good to be with all the it is good to be with all the teachers here and share whatever we are sharing with the teachers of India as well. I'll be speaking in English, but I'll be in a very simple English, which everyone can understand. So if there is any challenge with my English, you can stop me, ask me, but I don't know your language to speak. So only thing somebody can help if somebody couldn't understand anything. Okay. And my session will be on open educational resources. That's the first session of this particular training program. And as you are all aware, this is going to be a little theoretical, just a small brief for all the program is today will be a theoretical session, more of to have an basic understanding. And from tomorrow onwards, you will have a good complete demonstration come hands-on practice. I request all of you, usually online training, if it is theory session, all will keep only the Zoom on and will be doing other works. But we want all of you to be part of our session. And in between, we'll do few activities with some apps and softwares, which you also can participate, so that we jointly participate, discuss, and learn together. So let me share my screen, my presentation for supporting this session. Sir, I have not been allowed to share the screen. Can you please give me co-host right so that I can share the screen?
Okay, Dr. Angel.
Sir, I need a co-host screen so that I can share screen, because right now the screen is listed.
Both, sir.
Sorry, I should have checked between the break. I forgot to do that. Thank you. I think my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
So we are going to have a discussion for a few minutes on next 1 hour on open educational resources, which is shortly called as OERs. And most of us must have heard this phrase or the word as open educational resources. And I do understand that this country is involved in a lot of development of digital content. So, but still having to start with, let's start from the basics so that we all have common understanding when we proceed further to go ahead also, so that it is clear that we all speak the same language and have the same understanding. So during this session, we are going to discuss few points, which is on what is OER, why OER, what are the licenses with the rest. So before we get into this session, I wanted to know what you know about OER. So for that, we are going to do a small activity. So I'm just going to give you an activity link in the chat box. Please keep your screen minimized and please open. I'm going to give you a link in the chat box. You will be using that link and you will be sharing your understanding. So you can tell like whatever you have about whatever you understand about open educational resources. When you click on the link, you will get such a wall. So what you should do is there is a plus symbol. So click on this, write your understanding. Maybe you can tell like it is free, whatever you have understood. Just sorry, at the top you have to first type your name. And at the bottom, you can write like whatever you have understanding about OER. Maybe you feel like it is free. Whatever you understand, you can write a full paragraph also. If you know the definition, if you know what are the different types of OER, whatever you have an understanding. After typing all your content, you have to just click on publish so that your answer will come on the screen. Okay. So now I'm going to share you the link in the chat box. Please click the link from the chat box and start doing this activity. Yes. So you are able to see the link in the chat box. So click on the link. You will get this wall. Then click on plus symbol and write what is your understanding of open educational resources. At least write 2 sentences.
I think that is not in our chat box, Dr. Angel.
Dr. Angel, please give the link. Okay, it's not.
Yes.
In the chat box, it's not visible.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
we
have
are
not
not
shared it.
Okay, sorry. It is going only to one person. I'm sorry.
Yes, everyone, please make everyone in that.
Sorry. Right now you can
yes,
see it.
now it's okay.
Yeah.
We all see it.
Yeah, it's okay now.
If you can click on this link, you will land up in this page. Very good. I could see participants coming on the page. Already 6 people are there. Good. There are 100 participants. 100 of you should write. So click on this plus symbol. Then just type your name at the first top. You can also add in this. You wanted to show some image of OER, you can add a picture, you can add a file, you can add a link. You can also like whichever you know. Yeah. Mr. Keshav has written already. Very good, sir. Okay. We have got response of 5 persons and 30 people are already writing still. There are some still yet to participate. So let's wait for others to give their responses. Jamuna ma'am, like you have given just an answer image of water. If you wanted to add something, you can click whenever you have not, you wanted to edit, click here, you can edit and then give your answer. Those who have given, you can also try to change the color of your post. Like you can see there are different colors at the top. You can change your color of the post. Okay. Somebody who has written Kathmandu has changed. Good try. You should answer to the question. Somebody has just written Namaste. Please edit the post and write what did you understand from open educational resource. Yeah. A very good try, sir. You have added your photo also. Those who have added your answer, you can add your picture. So how do you add your picture? Like you can simply click here, edit your post. You can take a camera click, take your picture and then just submit. You can try that by the time others give the responses. So let's wait for another 2-3 minutes. Some of you have not returned the response. You have to write what is your understanding about open educational resource. Mr. Arpan, good that you have added your picture. Yeah, everyone is coming up with your picture. Very good. So those who are still writing, I could see still some 15, 16 people are responding. Let them continue, but we can come to the discussion point of, we have got lots of responses. Many of you have said the definition of OERs. Some of you have said what are the examples of OER. So there is a lot of different responses that has come from all of you. So what I understand, fairly all of you have understood what is OER, but let's continue to keep our understanding as a common understanding so that we will proceed further with our discussion. Okay. So thank you so much for being good participant in this session. So let's start with, before we learn what it is, why we have to first of all understand this OER, why we should understand what it is, how to use it and all. So let's start with this presentation, this understanding itself first. So as all of us are aware, most of the content are copyrighted. As teachers, many times we don't even think about copyright, because as education, we start using all the material which is available freely anywhere, and we don't bother about what is it about. Is it written as copyrighted or whether it is written at copyright free? Most of the teachers don't bother about it. That's what the survey at international level says. But just to recall ourselves, we all are aware copyright means it has some legal right for the owner on that intellectual property. It can be anything. It can be an image. It can be an idea. It can be an output. It can be a process. It can be a object. So anything which is developed by somebody, the owner can have a legal right on it. So usually if you see that, this is a symbol with C, a circle within a circle, which is written as C. This denotes copyright, and we would have seen this in many places. So for example, like let me show you a web page. Usually like we go to Google and search for images, right? So let me just go to images, and I'm going to just, when I'm going to prepare a presentation, I want about like animal cell picture. I'm a science teacher, I'm using in the class. This is animal cell, and then take whichever is more colorful or whichever is very good to explain my content. Maybe I wanted a 3D view. I immediately take it, just copy, paste it. But if we go to this particular image, where it is from, it is in a particular site, right? So you can see here, this is, if you see this particular image, it is not where it is from. It's in a page which is called instructables.com. This is in some activity page. Somebody is owning it. If you scroll down to this page, you can see that it is copyrighted. There is a symbol here. It's copyrighted to Autodesk. This is a company, right? So whenever there is something marked like this, okay, this web page belongs to this particular person, right? So this particular company who has done it. So similarly, even in the content, they would have written this symbol as copyright. If this is written, then it means that this belongs to somebody. So right now, this web page belongs to this company who is owning the copyright of this content. So that means it is, if anybody wants to just copy and paste it without the permission of this company or without purchasing this, we are legally punishable across the country, or any like in any, irrespective of the country. All the copyrighted content, if it is not legally purchased or legally permission has been sought to use it, if we use it, then it is punishable by law. So that is what copyright means. So if we see, like, this pandemic has forced many of us to develop a lot of digital content for education. But before this, if we see, most of the content of digital content was developed by different companies. And all these companies were selling those digital content. There was no much of the educational organizations who have developed the content. Like at least we see 3 years, 4 years before the lane. So at that situation, what this copyright has done to, what does it really force on? Whenever a copyrighted content is there, all the education people were able to use it in 3 ways. One is fair use. When we say fair use, many of the people don't bother. This was the real condition of our people, all that very specifically in education system. Many of the pictures which are put on Google or which are shared by others, the copyright owners were not very particular. They just gave it for any education, for just for criticism, for comments. You can use the content, not to make money out of it, right? So that is why all these years we were using all the digital contents which was available under fair use. But now, because it has become a demand, what happens when something is on demand? Surely it cost increases, right? Surely some value increases, because right now, due to pandemic, we are in the demand of digital content. Because of this, multiple owners have stopped this fair use. So the other way, the way we can use copyright material is by asking permission. Like, for example, if Ram sir has created a video in Nepal, which is very good to teach mathematics, as a teacher from India, I can talk to Ram sir, though it is his own content. I can talk to him, ask his permission, take the content and use it for myself, right? So that is one way we can use the copyrighted content. But many times we don't find who is the owner of the content which is in any of the Google or something. Like Google, YouTube, if you see some good video in YouTube, you want to take permission, which is a copyrighted content, but you're not able to find out who is the owner. So this is one limitation we have when the content is not written, whose content it is. The third is we should buy it. Like if there is a journal and there is an article which you wanted to use, many journals give you like on payment basis, you can buy that particular material. Even there are good images, you can buy that images by paying some amount to that, right? Earlier, there was no free images. Long back, like if I go back to 10 years back, when I have a lot of free images, we used to pay money to some company who has created images and then buy that copyright, and then we will modify and use it. These are the 3 ways copyright material can be used. What does this do? All rights reserved. That's what we say for copyright. All the rights are reserved. So this was really restricting the access to education or limiting the innovations. There was no newness in that. Only whatever somebody has prepared, we were wanting to use it, right? So there was a lot of limitation because of this copyright. And also, if you go and try to understand the consequences of copyright, one thing was there, because the content is available online, nobody can stop their use. Okay, we can't stop and go to one by one and check it out. So because of this, though the materials are copyrighted, there was lot of infringement in the copyright issues. People were taking the content without following any norms, without following any value for the content owner, without giving any credit to the owner. So there were a lot of people who started using all this copyrighted content without any permission, without informing the people, without giving any credit. So there was a lot of infringement, copyright infringement. We all have an experience. How many of us really purchased our Microsoft like package for our laptops? Many times when we buy a laptop, the company, the shop where we buy itself, they put a they don't give a original software to us, right? Or they actually make a copy of it, which is not legally right, and they install it, right? Many times when we go to shop and we want to purchase, the original is very costly. So what we do, we try to purchase the one which is pirated ones. So there are a lot of software usage in the society which are pirated. If you come to Delhi, there is a place like where you can get all the softwares in 100 rupees. There will be one DVD which have 100 softwares for 100 rupees. You will get Microsoft, you will get Adobe, you will get everything, AutoCAD. Each software will cost in thousands if it is original, right? But when you come, there is pirated softwares in the society which is given at very low cost just because it's pirated. So there was a lot of infringement that started happening. And also there is lot of some content has been made so expensive because of the demand. One side, piracy is happening. People really want to use it because it's a demand. So when they don't get it at their affordable cost, two things they do. They just take it and use it without informing anybody, or they take a pirated material. And when from the consumer, from the producer side, people started making money out of it. At one point of time, digital content was something, a kind of a money-making business. Even now, there are many people who do that. So this is all the consequences of a copyrighted material, right? We all have come across, we are all aware of it. So now, what is that required? So I can also just point out few things like with the consequences. One is like we know that there is a lot of users who wanted to use content now during this pandemic. This pandemic has really given a lot of emphasis that we need a lot of digital content, and there is a lot of expansion in the uses of digital content. And we also know that when all the content are copyrighted, like if we wanted to produce that content, each one, there is a lot of time taken because only one particular people is developing the content. And there is a lot of repeated investment. Even like your corporation, if they want 10 resource to be developed, if it is given to some company to develop, like they must be giving some amount to them. And if another corporation also is again developing, they will be paying for it again. So there is repeated investment also. And since it is copyrighted, we cannot freely distribute to multiple people. So it's a restricted in the scalability as well. It is copyrighted, we can't get any data of usage from that. And there is no innovation at all. So these are the 6 major problems which we face due to copyright issues. So as we discuss, what is the need of the hour? The need of the hour is we need some content that is reusable, which we can remix. We can, if we don't want that audio to be there, we want to use our audios, we should be able to remix it with the image which is available with our own audio. We should have content that can be revised, because we know that every day the content gets updated. So we need to have freedom to revise. We should not be dependent on some person who has created this content. Only when they revise and publish, we should take it. But we need content that we can revise as and when we need. Maybe there is a video which is very good, but it may not be very good for my students. When I wanted to modify it, I should have that right to do it. So we need content that is possible to be revised. And it's not just revised, it also should be there a possibility to redistribute. Like if Nepal has created some good content, that content should be shareable with the whole world so that people can reuse it, right? So that it should be freely distributed also. So that kind of content we need. And also we need content that becomes like we can retain it. So that it's not that I should say like I will borrow it for one day, use it in my class and give it, but it should be with me. I should own it. Though it is created by you, I have modified it. Now it belongs to me, right? So that kind of content is required right now. So when we want such content, if we have this content, what would be the benefit? It will help to share it with many people, which will increase accessibility to the content. Access can be increased surely to this quality content. Second thing, we can also share it with multiple people when it is distributing rights is there. It can be given freely to multiple people without any restrictions. So scalability is possible. And since there is possibility to revise and there is possibility to modify it, there will be new content coming up. It will not be only one idea. Somebody has created an image and the second person sees the image and there will be improvement in this, right? There will be so continuous improvement when there is a lot of new ideas coming in. And since it is going to be shared, like one person is developing and other person need not repeat the development. Somebody has developed one part of it, the second person can just continue with the second part. So this will surely reduce the time and it will also build a community and shared ownership. So these are the benefits of content which can be of this 5 elements, which has this 5 elements in it. If we have the need of the hour is to have content which is reusable, remixable, revisable, redistributable, and retainable. So when we want this type of content to be developed, that is where the importance comes of open educational resources. So when we say open educational resources, we are considering the license of that resource. So why we should consider the license of this resource, right? So as we are all aware, copyright becomes the issue of open educational resource because somebody is holding the ownership, okay? And by default, copyright is all rights reserved, which is not allowing anybody to work. So the complete usage is closed. So we need to really think about the license. So when we want to think about the license, we need the content license should be open license. What does open license means? Open license is a set of conditions which can apply to an original work for others to use it. So for example, like if you go to like I don't know which is like great hotel in Nepal, but if you come to India, like Taj is considered to be one of the hotels where people look for quality. Okay, so if you go to a Taj restaurant and have a cup of tea and then ask them, what is the recipe of your tea? Will they tell us? No. So they hold their recipes. They don't share it with us, right? So that is almost a copyrighted recipe. But if we share any of our own recipes. Surely there should be some food recipe in Nepal. Like in India, like I belong to South India. So sambar is one of the famous, one of the famous food which we eat, sambar and idli. So if I'm good at making it, I just release this recipe as a under open license. So what I'm just telling is anybody is free to take. I have stopped the screen share, sir. So because I'm just interacting, I have stopped the screen. So if you see like, if you see when I release it, this particular recipe as under open license, anybody will be free to use that recipe and prepare. Maybe one person, like for example, Mr. Keshav Raj from Nepal, feels that this is completely like an Indian taste, which I don't like it. I want some flavor of Nepali taste flavor in this. You may take my recipe, you can modify it. Instead of making with udin dal and urad dal and rice, you may add an ingredient of Nepal into this, which is very common in Nepal. Use it in that, and then you may prepare a new idli. Nepali idli, Nepali sambar, right? That is what open license will allow. But when I release the recipe, I should tell that this recipe is free for you to use. I should tell that you modify this recipe and use, right? But sometime Dr. Hari Prasad is running a business. He thinks that it is not just I want to modify and use it, but I want to sell this new recipe in my place and make a business out of it. So if Dr. Hari Prasad thinks to make a business out of it, he should first see whether I have given permission to make a business out of my recipe. I must tell what is my condition to use my content, my owned content. So when I used to tell, I should say you can freely use it, but you can't make money out of it. You can modify it, but you can't own it, right? So these are some conditions that a owner can make to the content, but allow others to use it. So that's what we call it as open license. So when we say open license, so this is what open license is defined as. Open license will help to break the closeness, and it will make the content open for others to use it with following the conditions which has been given by the owner. Okay. These open licenses are applied to a content to make it as open educational resource. Whenever we apply any of this open license to our content, then that content becomes a open educational resource. So many of you, when we did the first activity, I could see many of you have given your right answers. Like here, when we did it, we could see most of you have given your correct answer in this. About open educational resources are teaching, learning resources that can reside in a public domain, which is available freely for others. Many of you have given your very correct answer in this, which states, sorry. I'm so sorry. Just give me a minute. There is some technical issue with my system. Just a minute. Sorry, by mistake, my system has closed. I'm sorry for that. So as most of you have given the right definition of what is open educational resources, it is all the materials. It can be available in any medium, it can be in any form, it can be in any platform. But the thing is, it should be available in a public domain, or it should be released under certain open license. So we'll try to understand what does public domain mean and also what does open license means. Okay, so this is what we define it as digital open educational resources. So whenever we see open educational resources doesn't mean that it should be audio, video. It could be anything. Open educational can be part of any open solution. It can be just open access. Just you are keeping 10 books and saying like you just get free access. That could also be called as open educational resource. Open educational resources can permit open data. There is a lot of resources in my platform, which is used by multiple people. How many people are using that data is free for you to access. This will help in a lot of research also, which is really not actually available in the society. It can be even related to software. There can be the software which are free and open to use it without purchasing, without subscribing. You are free to download it. You are free to change its code. You're free to change its language. So that's what we call it as free and open softwares. Okay, so you can also, the open educational resources can be of this type as well. It could be simply open courses, no fees, nothing. You just come join on your own, you do it. Lot of courses are run by UNESCO and open like Commonwealth of Learning as open courses. Now even there is open university. Anybody can come to OU, just come there. You can just run your courses without any restriction. You don't need anybody's affiliation, kind of. You be part of it. You register yourself and then you run courses, offer the courses to all others so that you extend yourself as an open space. You want to share your knowledge for free, and whatever you are sharing, any other university will be ready to take it and use it. That's what we call it as open university. And it could be also a crowdsourcing platform where you just keep it open and then take all the content. Whoever wants to contribute, you keep contributing on this platform. So in India, we have a platform like that called Diksha. So which is a digital infrastructure for giving the digital content in India. So that's a crowdsourcing platform where at one part of it is like Vidya Dan, we call it. So where anybody in the country or anybody across the world who has some content would like to contribute, you can just come and give it for free, right? So open educational resources doesn't mean only your PowerPoint presentation or it is just only your video, audio. It could take any of this part. So as we have understood what is open educational resources, let's also just reflect on two questions. Okay. How are free resources different from open resources? And second is, how are OER different from just sharing? So I just want participants to share your thoughts on these two questions before we move into the next part. Yeah. Can anyone tell? What is the difference between free and open? Maybe you, whatever you feel as a response.
Okay,
Just to see whether all are there. Yes,
I think that open resource, we should mention about that copyright.
Okay.
For that free resource, no need to write anything.
Okay. Anybody else? I have not visited Nepal to see anybody. I know only one friend and now Raju sir. So if some of you can open your video and just speak, at least I'll get to know that how Nepal people look today.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my
Thank you,
idea.
Keshav,
So
sir.
the Nepali people use that Dhaka cap, so that I'm wearing that Dhaka cap. It's the
Okay.
formal dress of Nepal, you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So some of you are writing in the chat box as well. If you can open your mic and speak, or you can write in the chat box. How is it free resource different from open resource? Open in permission and free is no permission. Okay. Free means we should get it free without paying, right? So open means should we pay? Many times we get confused with this too, because like when you go to Google and just type it, some image, all are free. That's what we see. But they are not open with open licenses, right? So access to all without cost is free resource. Very good. Right? Any other responses? Anybody would like to speak and tell about what is the difference between open and free? Okay. So let me just tell with a very simple example, right? If rasheela, I'm not sure whether it is a male or female because this is not a very familiar name in our place. So is rasheela a male name or a female name?
Female name.
Okay, thank you. So for example, if rasheela ma'am is going to give all of us like she just decides on her birthday that I should feed some 100 people. Okay. She cooks food and give it free food for all the 100 people. Right? But rasheela ma'am has a recipe which is very good, which she prepared and gave it to them. She just gives the output to the people. She prepares her recipe, gives the food to 100 people. That is like free resource. But if she gives the recipe to 100 people and tell them you can use this recipe, prepare on your own, then it is okay. So when we see when it is free, it is more like only an output. Somebody's mic is in between.
Rom sir.
Thank you. So it is like more when you see a free resource or a free platform, it allows you to get the output. But when we see open, it allows you to prepare your own content. So that is why when we come to development of digital learning, we are more specific about open educational resources, not just free resources. Free resources are available a lot. Just you can take it, use it. But if it is open, you can take it and modify it. Free resources are not permitted to modify. The free resources are not always permitted to give it free. When somebody gives you free a gift, it is for you to keep it. It is not just you can give it to others, right? If the Sankarapura municipality gives all your participants one certificate, right? The certificate is given to you without any cost of this training, freely. But it doesn't permit you to change the name in the certificate and give it to another friend, right? So that is what is free. But open means, like I say, like now I'm giving you the template of the certificate. You conduct any person training, you need to have. Many times we take all the free content as open content and we use it in our educational purpose, which is really wrong. The second question is, how are OER different from just sharing? Like, whenever it is a copyrighted material, I may take permission from you to share in my class, but it doesn't allow anyone to do it. So that is again, the difference is there may be content which is given to us for simply sharing. Maybe your municipality may tomorrow give a pen drive with 20 content and say you can use this and you can share it with other teachers. But that doesn't mean that you can modify the content. right? Only if the content is set as OER, then you can modify. So whenever somebody is going to create a content and give it, it is very, very important to release it as OER so that the usage will be better among all the resource person, all the people. Okay, so that is what we mean by open educational resources. So as I said, by definition, the resources should be in public domain or it should be with any open license. So let's try to understand various licenses. So we call this open license as Creative Commons. So we know copyright as one license. The second license is Creative Commons. And when we say public domain, we also call it as completely copyleft, no right, no license at all, right? So what we call it as a public domain, we don't like we can use the word called public domain. So these are the different three licenses which we are giving: copyright, creative license, or public domain. So how does it work? In copyright material, all the rights are reserved, and reuse of this requires permission. But if it is a Creative Commons license, which is an open license, there are some rights reserved. In case like the way we tell them, give the permission, accordingly, the rights are reserved. And reuse is permitted without permission, but with that specification. If I have created a content and permitted you to use it and share it and modify it, you can do that. If I have created a content and given that you can even sell it, you can use that. So based on the permission given, it can be reused. But you need not ask for permission. The moment it is OER, you can take it, and whatever permission they have given, you can use it. Public domain, if it is released as any resources released in a public domain, that means no rights. You can do anything with the whatever you want. You don't need to ask anybody, you don't need to give credit. But in Creative Commons, you need to give credit to the owner. But in public domain, no need to give credits, no need to follow anything. It's completely free. Not just free, all rights is yours. You can do anything with that. So these are the three major things. So we have already seen about copyright. Let's get to understand one by one of Creative Commons and public domain. So when we talk about Creative Commons license, Creative Commons license is applied by the owner. It is not applied by somebody else. When I create, then I have to give the license. I have to apply the license. After I share it, some of them will not release it. Many times as a state, at the country level, at the national level, at the state level, or at the corporation level, we distribute a lot of content to others. But what we do is, we don't apply license. We simply give the content. Whenever you don't apply any license, it automatically becomes copyrighted. If there is no mention of any license, it is by law, it is copyrighted material. So that is one thing which we need to be very careful about, so that without any license, if you are sharing the content, telling that it is free, then it is just free content. It cannot be used as open educational resources. So even at an individual level, even PowerPoint, like I am using a presentation now. If I want to share this with all of you, okay, only if I write in my presentation that this content is released under this license, you will be able to reuse it. Otherwise, it is just for free for you to see it. Training, if I don't write it. So it is very important for the owner to give the license of any work. It may be a simple photograph you take. It may be a cartoon you draw. It may be an article you write. It may be just a thought or a flowchart which you are, anything. But until and otherwise the owner applies license, it will not be accepted. So when we are writing, when we are applying the license, there are 4 elements which can be applied. These are the 4 different permissions. On permutation combination, we'll get 6 licenses. So the very first thing is by. by is one of the component of the license. What does by means? If anywhere it is written Creative Commons, short form is CC. So if we write Creative Commons by, then that means the content, whenever you are reusing, you should give attribute to the owner. You should mention that the first author is so and so, right? So that's how we need to really, which we need to take it. For example, if Lakshman sir has created a video, if I want to use it and Lakshman sir has released the content under CC by, then when I use the video, I modify it and release it, I should write that the first author is Mr. Lakshman, right? I should give that attribute to Mr. Lakshman because he is the first owner. So I have modified it. Now again, I have released it as CC by, right? Now if Bodhraju sir is taking my content and then he is modifying it, he has to give attribute to again to me. He has to say that this content is adapted from the work of Dr. Angel. So that is which has to be written. So this is how we give attribute. It is not, attribute means not giving them money, but we have to write in our content, this is adopted or adapted by or inspired from the content developed by so and so. You have to write that in your content. Otherwise, you are not following the rule. So that is what by component means. The next component is non-commercial, NC. Whenever you want to say you cannot make money out of it, you cannot do business out of it, you should use this particular component in your license, right? So all the educational resources, we should release it under non-commercial purpose so that people don't take our content and make money out of it, but it should be possible for everyone to use it. The next component is ND, which is no derivative work. For example, if you have textbooks in your corporation, the textbooks are written for the schools, the textbooks are written by forming a committee for having an experts, and then you have written a textbook in a proper curriculum-based, syllabus-based, following a process, you have written the textbooks. If you simply allow them to modify, what will happen? People may take your content and wrongly interpret it. In such cases, we should not permit them to derive any work, not to modify. So in that case, we should give ND. When you apply ND, that means you cannot modify the content and make a new work out of that content. That's what this component means. The last is share alike. SA. SA means you have to share it the same way you received it. So the thing is, if I have written my content as CC by SA, then that content can be given to others under CC by SA. Or a license which has more freedom in that. So this is what 4 components of open licenses. When you combine this, you will get 6 configurations, which we are going to discuss. But before we go into that, I have a small question, whether to check whether we have understood this 4 points very clearly or not. Okay. So just let me just share a link in your chat box. It's a very simple 1 question, multiple choice question. You will have a question and you will be having 4 options. You need to just give your answer in that. So I have just given you a link in the chat box. Please click on the link. So there are 4 licenses I have written. CC by so it means Creative Commons by non-commercial, non-derivative. CC by non-commercial and share alike. CC by non-derivative and non-commercial, CC by non-derivative and share alike. So which one of these cannot come under Creative Commons? Which of this combination is not under Creative Commons? Just think of whatever we have understood. Right. 2 people have given the response. So let's wait for all others to give. Okay. 4, 7. Let's wait to see all others. "26 participants have participated till now. We have nearly 120 participants. I hope all are awake and you are with me in the presentation. Okay, let's wait still. Okay, we'll give another few minutes, 2 minutes for all the participants to complete. So just click on the link, just select the right answer and submit. "60 participants have given their response. So at least 50% of our participants have responded, right? So we can see there is like, yeah. Thank you, Lakshman sir, for pointing out. I think it was Lakshman sir who was giving an arrow on the screen to show where I am seeing the responses number. Thank you. Yeah. So this is some of the tools, technology tools that helps you. Like, see, I can keep watching how many people are participating and giving responses. So I could see 70 people are at least awake in my session. So I'm very happy for that. More than 50%. Let's see still how many will be participating. Some of you may be due to network or this, you are not able to participate, right? So now let's come to this discussion point. We can see here, almost in all the answers, some people have given the answer. So when we take the first license, what does non-derivative mean? We have said non-derivative will not permit you to derive anything, right? When you give NC, it can be published. I'm not deriving it, but it can be made commercial, right? So this actually CC by NC and D is possible. This is a license under Creative Commons. So when you come to this, we can also give a license that you can modify everything and you can even sell it. So this license is also a Creative Commons license. So when you come to this, I have derived non-derivative. So this is a mistake that these two are the same licenses, though I have written NCND or NDNC, both are same. This is just to confuse you. Both are same license. It's not the order. Order doesn't matter. The order, you can write it NCND or NDNC, both are same. Okay. So you can see here, many people have given this response and this, both are same license. So a material which is non-derivative can be released as non-commercial, right? But when you come to this license, this is not possible. So this is not a Creative Commons license. Whenever you are making the combination, ND and SA cannot come together because SA allows to modify, ND doesn't allow to modify. So both the things you can't put it together, right? So when we come to our presentation, when I say that you can make these four are there components, but you can make permutation and combination out of it. We need to be careful about its meaning. So when I say ND, no derivative, SA you can modify. So this is a contradicting components. So you cannot have this together at all. Okay. So having these four components, there are possibly 6 licenses that you can apply. So let's try to see one by one. First one is CC BY. What does CC BY means? So how do you identify that this license, this can be an icon, which is written as CC BY, and it can be written as attribution, or it is simply written as with this symbol. Anything is written of this, that means CC BY. So any content, when you search, if it is written in this kind of symbol, or it is written with this some text, or it is written the content is released under Creative Commons attribution, then it all means the same. The license of that content is CC Creative Commons BY. Earlier I said, what does BY mean? You should give attribute. So from this license itself, it's very clear. Since it is Creative Commons, you can distribute, remix, adapt, build anything in any medium, giving credit to the owner. And this can also be released. Like this can be shared with anyone. This is the most open Creative Commons license. Okay, because it doesn't have any condition. It is only that you need to give credit. There is no other condition. You can modify, you can remix, you can use the content. So this is the first license. So when we come to the second combination of the license, which is CC BY SA. So now you can see, read it by one. It is a Creative Commons license. So it allows you to distribute, remix, adapt, and build on this material. It is BY, so we need to give credit to the author. And it is not mentioned as NC or ND. That means you can modify. You can even use it for commercial purpose. But whenever you are releasing it, you should release it under the same license. So for example, let me show you Wikipedia. Most of you must be aware of this site called Wikipedia. Okay. So when you go to Wikipedia, most of you must be aware the content in Wikipedia are completely free to use it. Is it just free or is it a OER? When you come to the platform, which is below, you can see the license. Text is available under the, let me just make it a little larger for everyone to see. So you can see it's very clearly given in this place as license. What does this platform say? Whatever text is here is available under Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license. That means anything in this place, you can use it freely, you can modify it, you can change it, you can share it, but you should give credit that this content is adapted, adopted, or inspired by the content given in Wikipedia, this particular page. Okay, so we need to please check this license whenever you are using anything. So this is very important. I request not to use annotate tool because since this session is also getting recorded, when you are marking on the screen, it may mislead understanding in the later part. So requesting all of you to support that. So for example, it has very clearly written only the text available. It's not giving completely all the image available are under essay. So whenever you wanted to use any image, you should check the license of it. So you can see when I click this license, I can see that this image is also given under CC BY SA, right? Some images may not be under CC by SA. So like, for example, this is CC by. So each one is different. This video, this small video clip is there, which is given under CC by, because somebody has returned this web page, somebody has returned this content, but they have taken a video from another site. They have taken an image from other site. This is not their own image. So what they have given the details. Whenever they are adding, they have given, this is a CC by video, and this is the file, and it has been taken from so and so. Permission details is also written. You can see here from where they have copied. They have given all the details of this image, right? So you can see even in Wikipedia, there are multiple licenses. As Wikipedia, all the text are under CC by SA, which is given very clearly under the license, but all the images in that or a video clip in that, we need to check it off. Okay. So this is what we need to always be careful about when we are using any resource or when we are publishing. So CC by SA, one of the example is Wikipedia, right? So now let's move on to the next license, the third license, which is CC by NC. Whenever we say CC by means, we already know we need to give credit. When we return NC here, it means that you can't use for, so it's you can see when non-commercial, it says you can't use for any commercial purpose. Like if you have made a video and you don't want anybody to sell your video, but you allow them to use it for modification and reuse, you should always add this NC. Basically, this is a good thing that whenever it is, when you have done it, if you feel like I don't bother about it, so then you can give it. But the thing is, whenever a government is doing a content, which is having a lot of investment, they don't permit the content to be taken for commercial purpose. Just think of a scenario. If tomorrow the corporation has created 10 content, and if they don't mark NC in their content and release it under CC by, and if I take your content and do business out of it, I sell it to 10 schools in India and take money and I become rich, will you permit it? So we need to think, whenever a content you want to use it for free, when you want to encourage them to use it, then let's not give permission for commercial use. Maybe you have you have come to India once. I'm so sorry, I'm taking examples of India because I'm very poor about Nepal. I don't know. I'm not so good like Professor Baira to pick up the things. I'm just giving examples from Nepal, from India itself. Hope like when you visit India, you have taken a picture of Taj Mahal. Okay. So you feel like I have clicked a picture of Taj Mahal, so I can just give it freely to everyone, whoever wants to use it. So you just give it by license CC by. Then anyone can take your image, use it in their video freely, and then they can sell the video. Maybe a e-learning company can take your image and then use it, and they can make business out of it. You cannot go and claim that you have used my image, give me money. But if I have taken the Taj Mahal picture and then I have marked it as non-commercial, and if anyone breaks that rule and use your image again and sell the product, you can even put a case on them. So for example, let me tell this scenario. We are all aware about this Disney World, you know, like Walt Disney pictures and all that. So it's a very Mickey and Disney are very common cartoon characters. And if you go to their site and see, these cartoon characters are all copyrighted characters, right? So one of the teacher in India who was in village, who is in a village, it's a very remote village. Like this happened just 15 years back. What he did is he prepared a small workbook for his students. which he took Xerox and gives to the student. So he wanted a very nice cover page for that workbook. So what he did is he just made the cover page with Disney's photo, Disney character picture on the first, just to attract the primary school kids. And then he added every activity inside was developed by the teacher. And then he printed this book and started giving to his own students. This was 15 years back. And after 5 years, some other teachers came to know about this. Like, he has nice workbook which he has designed and it is very useful. So some of the teachers who are very good at technology, they said, okay, now let us digitize your book and share it with others to use it. So the other teacher took his book, digitized it, made it as a PDF with the same cover page of Disney photograph, and then he just published it. When he published it, it was started spreading. Many people started using it. And one fine day, this teacher who was sitting in that rural place got a law notification from the court of US, from the Disney company, stating that you have used our copyrighted images in your book, which is published in the website without any copyright license. Because I said already, if you don't put any copyright, it will be, you don't write any license, it will be copyrighted. So they charged him in thousands of dollars to pay as a fine. When the teacher developed, he was not aware of the license. And because of this online, things get spread very fast. And sometimes we may land up in such situations. So whenever we are going to develop content in our place, because he started using it and giving it, somebody is taking money for that, printing the material, it became commercial. So this was a complete infringement of the copyright. Okay, so we need to be very careful about writing the license in our thing. So whenever we write NC, that tells the other people that you cannot use this content for any commercial purpose. So just we go to the next license, which is CC by NC by SA. When we say CC by NC, it very clearly says you cannot make it commercial, but you can share it as it is, right? So I have already explained what is non-derivative. So most of the time, non-derivative should be applied in the materials which are prepared with certain purpose, like textbooks, like government documents should be published as CC by NC by ND. Non-derivative will only restrict them, but the last license is NC by ND, which can say that I cannot allow textbooks to be resold. So we should give non-commercial right there. If it is a government documents, it should be better to have this license. So when we see, these are the 6 various licenses that can be used under open license. The last, when I said public domain, this is a symbol which we call it as CC0 or CCO. This means like no license. So when we will say it is a public domain, there is no rights or no, it is not, the intellectual property is not protected. No copyright, no trademark, no patent, no on this. Anyone can use it. So when will some content be like become a public domain? In 2 ways. One is the owner declares it like this is under public domain. That can be possible. The second thing is the owner has given a copyright and it expires. Automatically, it becomes a public domain. Just to give you an example of CCO, you can see here, this is a website called Wikimedia Commons, Wikimedia, right? This is not Wikipedia, this is Wikimedia. This Wikimedia, if you see the license by here, this is like CC BY, okay? This is first license we see, Creative Commons Attribution. There are some links. I've just put them in the presentation. Just give me. Okay. I can show one. Okay, this Gutenberg. So this was a project which is Project Gutenberg, which was actually a project of US, where you can see here this project had a copyright first. When they did this project, they had made a copyright. But after their copyright has expired, because you can see these are all the old things where copyright has expired. So when the copyright has expired, automatically all this becomes a public domain. So this is what we mean by using it. So whenever such things happens, I can release it or it can become a public domain for anybody to use. There is no one who owns this, no author for it. So you can use any material from this kind of a site. Okay, without giving any credit, without asking any permission, you can take it, modify it, you want to delete it, you want to recreate this books, anything you can do. Because there is no copyright, no Creative Commons. This is completely on a public domain. So this kind of materials is also possible to be used for our educational purposes. So that's one thing that we need to be clear about. So that is what we mean by the open educational resources. So how do we use it? We can use it from different sites. So I'm going to share this presentation and also this as a write-up because you can have some experience of going through this. Two things is there. One is when you search, you can use some search engines which gives you Creative Commons OER materials. One such platform is Creative Commons. This is a website which you can go and you share instead of searching in Google, you can search here. When you search here, you can find images which are OER materials. So this is a dedicated platform here. So you can search in this particular place like this. Okay. So this is a platform called Creative Commons itself. Okay. And when you search in Google, the other way, one is you go to a specific search engines which are having OER content like this. These are some 3 examples which I have marked here. These are some of the search engines where you can search for OER material. But when you search in Google, I'm searching for an image like animal cell, right? These are not all OER. These are all free images, but you need to go to tools, see the usage rights, select Creative Commons license. Only then whatever comes is a OER material, right? Otherwise, if you see here right now, if I remove this license, you can see there will be a lot of images, but the moment I apply, when I apply all, you are seeing more images. Okay. There are a lot of images that are there. But when you go to restricting the license, which are free for me to use, automatically most of the images have gone, which are copyrighted material. Now you can go and check this, what is the license of this image, and then you can use it. Okay. This image is right now in a website called Pixabay. So what is the license here? It is free for commercial use, no attribution required, right? So this is a license which has been given, which you can freely use it for yourself to use in your presentations and in the videos. So this is how we need to check the license even when you are searching the images or any material in your in Google, or you go for this any of this websites. So there are many platforms which allows only OER materials. So these are some of the examples of platforms where you get OER. You may get different instrumental music. Some gives a background voice. Some gives even songs which can be freely used when you want to prepare. So you can access any of the sites for your free audio. Similarly, you can access free images from Flickr, Unsplash, Bixby. These are all some of the platforms where you can use it. For example, when you go to Unsplash, you can actually get freely high resolution backgrounds. You wanted to use some pictures, because it's not Indian company, it's from other countries. So you may have a lot of pictures, but you need to choose your picture according to your requirement. Sometimes you may need a picture like this to include in your video, which you don't have a photo. You can check. This is more like photographs, not backgrounds alone. Like you can use backgrounds, you can take photographs. This is a platform for that. And you also have a lot of pictures which you can use it in Flickr. Flickr is having different content. So like there is even pictures of people, which you can take photographs of persons, like celebrities, which you can use it. Otherwise, most of the content are copyrighted. Okay. So you can see the different content here. You can search for people, you can search for photos, and then you can use it in your thing. So these are some of the examples where you can get your free content, and you can also take content of text materials, some books, some written articles. You can take it from these websites, and you can also take videos, already available recorded video. So there are a lot of educational videos in Pixabay. So you can simply keep searching and then find out what it is about. You can search images, you can search for videos. So you can explore quite a lot of things from here, which you can take it for your OER. So how do we really use OER? One is, first of all, when we create content, we should use the materials from the OER content, for OER platform. The second thing is, when we develop any content, we have to write any one of these. We have to write any one of this license when we are going to use it. Any one of this license should be written in your content so that it is released as OER. These are the two main things. When we develop, we should use OER materials to use it for development. And when we release it, we should always release using any one of this license so that our content will be released as a OER. Very important thing is, if you have used any image which is released under CC by NC in your content, then you cannot release it under this license. You cannot release. So this is a table which we need to keep in our memory when we release it, because we may take 10 pictures from 10 different places, which has 10 different licenses. But when we put together, we should check this table, whether I am permitted to release under this, what components I can use. If I have an image CC by NC by SA, then I can only publish it with this two license. So this is very crucial for the national and state level resource distribution. We need to please keep this table before our eyes whenever we plan to release any content. And when you are going to give any guideline for developing, when the teachers are going to develop, in the guideline, it should be very clearly mentioned that if the country as Nepal decides to release all the educational materials as CC by SA, then in the guideline, it should be very clearly written that you should not use any material which has CC by ND license. This is very, very crucial that it has to be written in the license. So this is what all about OER. We have tried understanding what does OER mean and what when to use it, how we can use our OER material. And also we have tried understanding the license. This is more of a theoretical understanding. But from tomorrow onwards, when you develop any material, like for example, I'm just going to show, like I have now used the presentation today. I'm going to share the link for you to access it. So how do I release it? Just this will be my last point to tell all of you. So when I wanted to release this, this presentation, so I'm just going to go to my home and then. So you can see this is my first slide of my presentation. Okay. So when I want to release this, I have to add in my slide at least so I'm just going to insert a text. I'm going to insert the image because I want to give the image of, I want this to be released by the license CC by NC by SA. Okay. So I just add this image. This means this content is now under this license. So I just simply, you can add, and people should know to whom this credit should be given. Okay. So I'm also adding my name at the bottom. So what does this help people to understand is, people will understand that this is a content developed by Angel Ratnabai, which has been released. So now when I share this presentation with all of you, you can use this because you can use it, modify it, you can even share it with others, but you cannot sell my presentation. So when I want to share this, I'm just going to share my link. As soon as this media share, like the questions is coming up, I'm just sharing the link for you, all of you. So you can share the link with others for your presentation. So anything you do, even if it is a simple presentation or simple things, try to add your license to it. So I'll stop here if there is any queries. I think I was going by the time of Indian time. So I was just checking my time. I forgot that Nepal is 15 minutes ahead of Indian time. I'm so sorry for that. Just now I realized that. Yeah. If there is any questions, so when you want to keep only share only CC, then it should be added as ND. When you write it as ND, that means they cannot modify. They can only share it as it is, right? So they cannot derive it. They can only share your content. There are few questions. Okay. Some of them have written in Hindi. I'm so sorry. I don't know to read Hindi. 2-3 people have written some queries in Hindi, I guess. I'm so sorry for that. Lakshman sir, if you can tell what you have written in Hindi, it would help me to answer if that is a question or something else.
Okay,
I'll
see here.
If anybody has question, you can even open your mic
no.
and ask.
That is written in Nepali.
Okay, sorry, it's a
Lakshman
Nepali.
Sharma has explained about Diva Sapna and Charkhutekko Gharzam. That was also written.
Okay.
That book was published in Nepali medium using that one.
Okay, so thank you.
Getting permission, they have published those books.
Thank you, thank you, sir.
My information was this Diva Sopna written by Gizu Bhai, and this Animal Farm written by George Orwell, where more than 60 years back. So Nepali publisher printed, translated and printed in Nepal and sold.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. So any other queries? If you can open your mic, and somebody has raised their hand. So sir, would you like to speak? I could see Shabdi Ali.
Question Ali.
Ali, sir.
Ma'am, I was just asking that I couldn't catch the 5th licensing category after CC by NC and SA. I just couldn't catch the 5th one.
Sir, CC by NC by SA is like we have created a content which you want others to modify.
No.
You are
No. One second, ma'am. I'm asking that I know the meaning, but I could not catch their what to say. Just like the 4th one is CC by NC by SA, like what 3rd one is CC by NC. So you had given the 5th one. I just didn't get it. CC by, and what is after that? I just didn't get the serial. I'm just asking.
You was asking about CC by NC SA, miss.
just a minute, sir.
ए लक्ष्मण सर मैले सोध्नु खोजे यस्तो हो के जस्तो
This
लास्टको
one, sir.
क्याटेगोरी भनेको चाहिँ
This is the
सिसी
fifth
बाई
one.
एनसी बाई एनडी हो नि त्यस्तै पाँचौँमा के थियो त्यो मैले सिरियल चाहिँ सम्झिन सकिनँ भन्न
CC by
खोजेको
NCSA, sir. The fifth one was CC by NC and SA, and he wants to know more explanation about this one. CC
Sir,
by
No.
I have shared my screen. In my screen, the fifth one is CC by ND.
Oh, सिसी बाई एनडी ओके ओके
Okay.
I was just asking that.
Yeah.
CC by ND. Okay, okay.
Okay.
I get the
So,
meaning now.
yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm clear about the meaning.
So there is no other queries, then we can stop by here, sir.
Lakshman Sharma sir,
Hazur.
do you have any quick remarks about the presentation of this lesson?
Thank you very much, ma'am. In my opening remarks, I had mentioned these ideas because we were not so much familiar with the contents available in the Google and YouTubes and other resources, and we don't have our own public domain reach. So our authority used to say that you have everything available in the internet, you can use in classroom, but I know that is not true. And my last remarks is OER should be FERs to make education free or equitable as well as inclusive, because when we talk about to pay, many of us can't pay and left behind in this process. So seeing from right-based approach, we have to have free resources easily available for us all. Thank you very much.
Sir, since sir has pointed out one main information I would like to share is YouTube is something which everyone uses as free. Like many times, national anthem, everything we pick up the link from YouTube and use it. But we sometimes even download the YouTube videos. So YouTube has open educational resources because many people, as sir said, many people don't have their own domain. So what they do, many country, they create one YouTube channel and upload all the educational resources.
Yes.
As OER, we give the license as OER. But this resource can be edited only in the YouTube video editor. You don't have rights because there is license for the resource, there is license for the platform. YouTube allows anybody to announce your license as Creative Commons, but as such YouTube platform do not permit you to download any video. If you see the license of YouTube platform, it very strictly holds the copyright of all the videos which is uploaded on the platform. So one thing is, we should not really make YouTube channels as our official disseminating platform. So what is an alternative? Like, because we don't have our own platform, that is where Wikimedia Commons comes. Wikimedia platform is a platform where you can share, you can make your own space and then share all your videos, other materials for others, any media content with others. So that would be a place because Wikimedia is a platform which has Creative Commons license. Thanks to everyone for your patience, listening and participation. Sir, over to Buduraju sir, if there is any further queries or any comments they would like to add. Otherwise, we are through for the day.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Angel. I request all friends, here's a link of attendance. Please follow the attendance and write name and something like that in the attendance. I have already posted the attendance link. Then Dr. Angel already explained that today's lesson is introductory and this is very much theoretical, but very essential, very essential. And from tomorrow, we will have a practical session. Tomorrow's session will be conducted by Romkanda Pandey and Dr. Deepti Gupta from NCERT, India. It will be practical oriented session. Thank you very much. Session will be started at 10 o'clock, at sharp 10 o'clock.
Sir, I haven't got a link of my attendance in my chat box.
Yeah, okay, sir.
For tomorrow to practice, all of you need a computer or a laptop or something, so that please be having, because all this demonstrations is not enough to listen. You need to practice also. So please keep a laptop or a computer ready with you. And tomorrow it is both going to be on a website. So you need not download any tools. You can directly come follow the demonstration and then practice. So because
And
there
in
is a question
meantime,
in the chat.
this session has been